to get into on a Wednesday hump day on the hottest show on the streets, number one form for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. No matter if you're watching this from your iPhone, your iPad, your tablet, your computer, whatever device you may be using, you got yourself hooked on to the non-stop entertainment that is your Crimson Tide. We're bringing this to you from the magic city of Birmingham, streaming this to you via YouTube. Speaking of the channel, stop what you're doing right now. Hit that subscribe button. Smash subscribe right now. Let's get those likes up. Hit that thumbs up. Give us a like on the show right there. Make this your show, your network platform channel, and space to Talk Bama. Also, turn all of those post notifications on. Hit that little bell so you miss absolutely nothing. No alert, no update, no nothing on your Crimson Tide. We also got you covered here on Facebook and Twitter as well, streaming to you the show. And appreciate all of you guys checking out the Bama Standard last night on TDA's YouTube channel. It was phenomenal. It was outstanding. A lot of laughs, a lot of fun, lot of good time right there. And in the words of my grandmother, who on the 31st of this month, it'll be 3 full years since she passed away, but she had this term called bukus. That was bukus of fun. I don't think bukus, John, is a word, but in honor of my late grandmother, Marjorie Moore, that was bukus of fun on yesterday. So every Tuesday on the TDA YouTube channel at 6 p.m. Central Time, it'll be the Bama Standard. Check that out with Justin Riley, comedy legend Steve Brown, a former Alabama linebacker, Bama great, all-SEC linebacker Marvin Constant, two-time national championship running back and member of the Birmingham Stallions, Bo Scarborough, and yours truly, Stephen M. Smith here at TDA. We've got a lot to get to. I have to talk about a lot to conversate on, and we want to hear from you, the passionate fans of Bama football. You can do this by calling 205-448-1358, number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. That daily Super Chat goal, $75 daily Super Chat goal. Appreciate you guys supporting the show. But we hop into now topic number one here, the conversation, and Alabama, Texas. Everybody is gearing up for this matchup, week 2 of the college football season, taking place on Saturday, September 10th in Austin, Texas. And Fox will have this game. The Fox Big Noon crew will be on the call for this game, and this matchup potentially could be an 11 a.m. kickoff, and people not really happy about that, not really thrilled about that, would much rather see that as a night game. But as of right now, potentially, we're looking at an 11 a.m. kickoff between Alabama and Texas when you discuss Nick Saban, Steve Sarkisian, quite a few former Nick Saban assistants on Sarkisian's staff at Texas, a couple of former Alabama players in Texas as well. So much here in this pot of gumbo in this match between the Crimson Tide and the Texas Longhorns. But what's interesting here is Steve Sarkisian spoke today to the Houston Touchdown Club when it comes to Alabama getting the Longhorn fan base hyped up. Now remember, the last time a coach spoke to the Houston Touchdown Club, that would be Jimbo Fisher just last season for Texas A&M last summer. And the question addressed to Jimbo was, Coach Fisher, do you feel like you will be able to beat Alabama when Nick Saban finally retires? And Fisher says, no, we're going to beat this bleep while he's still in Tuscaloosa. And Texas A&M ended up winning that game. Now, of course, there were turnovers involved. Yes, Alabama did not play its best football game, but A&M ended up winning that matchup. But here we go here. Steve Sarkisian, Houston Touchdown Club, was asked about Alabama, about this game, about this matchup, and the potential 11 a.m. kickoff. And Sarkisian answers with, look, I don't give a bleep what time the kickoff starts. Y'all just be there. Just be there, be hyped up, be loud, be excited, be rowdy. I don't care what time the kickoff starts. Y'all just be inside the stadium. Texas is very energized for this game. Texas is very hyped up here for this matchup due to, number one, Sarkisian is trying to become just the third former Nick Saban assistant to beat the boss, joining Jimbo Fisher and Kirby Smart. And then, Texas for the longest of time has not been relevant. The last time Texas was relevant, 2009, Colt McCoy. If you want to get even more, 2005 with Vince Young. But it's been over a decade since Texas has been relevant. They're always crying out, we're back, we're Texas, here we are. They have not been back in over a decade. So here is the game that Sarkisian is getting the fans riled up for, is getting the people hyped up for in his statement toward the Touchdown Houston club. And this is going to be a good football game. This is going to be a real good football game. Now, my only gripe, once again, is that potential 11 a.m. kickoff. This is the reason why you have fans, students in Austin, Texas, filling out petitions, trying to get this thing changed to a night game. Normally we would see an ESPN or ABC fighting there to make this a night game, but with Texas being still a Big 12 program prior to it making its official landfall in the SEC, with it being a Big 12 program, Fox has, I guess, those rights. Fox and the Fox Big Noon Kickoff Show, they have those rights to get the Texas game, especially with the matchup being played there in Austin. But Sarkisian getting the fans hyped up. Sarkisian getting the fans on their feet, riled up, trying to see how competitive will this matchup be on Saturday, September 10th here when it comes to the college football season. We'll see. We will see how this all boils down to it. But we're going to take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, we go to the phone lines. We grab your calls, your thoughts, your chats, your conversations. What do you feel about this Alabama-Texas game being potentially 11 a.m.? Steve Sarkisian statements, getting the crowd riled up for this game against Bama. We'll get your thoughts after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
This is Matt Caddell, former Alabama wide receiver, and you're listening to In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith with Touchdown Alabama magazine. And I got 2 words to say, baby. Roll Tide.
9 players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, folks, we're kicking it with you from the break on a Wednesday hump day, number 1 forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama magazine. Happy to have you guys checking us out here on today. Remember, this week we got the regionals for Alabama softball. Patrick Murphy and the girls, they will start on the 20th, which is Friday. Alabama will take on Stanford and a couple of other teams in the regionals at Rhodes Stadium. Hopefully, the girls can be victorious in the Tuscaloosa Regional, get to the Super Regionals, get to the Women's College World Series. This is the time of year where softball becomes really excited. And nobody knows more about this than my man, Jimmy Clay. So you could definitely see him there at the Rhodes Stadium cheering on Team 26 as the regional start this weekend. And speaking of my man JC, shouts out to Jimmy Clay, that $75 donation in the Super Chats, handling the daily Super Chat goal by himself. Appreciate that love there, comment from Jimmy Clay. We're going to go to the phone lines right now to grab your calls. The call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in to let your voice be heard, 205-448-1358 as you guys are getting your thoughts in. Cool, an interesting topic, and that would be, so the NCAA, the Division I Council of the NCAA has released something interesting today, and it goes to recruiting where college sports here are concerned, but especially football. So for the next 2 years, the Division I Council has relaxed the number of freshmen that each school can bring in. Normally, the number is 25. 25 is kind of the cap number that you can have in terms of freshman recruits. Some people may have 23, some folks may have 24, depending on how the numbers are manipulated. Somebody may have 26, who knows. But normally, that cap number is 25. They want you around that number in terms of freshman recruits. 25 freshman recruits and 85 scholarship players on the roster. That's been the limit for quite the time. Now, with this new rule coming from the Division I Council of the NCAA, what's happening is for the next 2 years, schools will be allowed to bring in over 25. So more than 25 names, more than 25 student athletes can come in a freshman class. Now, the 85-man scholarship limit, that's still there. Nothing is going away from that as of right now. So you still have to keep it within the 85 scholarship man limit. But now, in terms of each freshman class for the next 2 years, you're able to bring in more than just 25 student athletes. And I feel like Coach Saban will have this to be used to his advantage where Alabama football is concerned. But John, definitely on Friday, I want to get our own Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst, to come on and talk about this. So just my thoughts on it is, I think it's intriguing how you can get more because you think about it, Alabama typically would have the number one guy on their board, the number two guy on their board, the number three guy on down by each position. And if you couldn't get your number one guy, then normally you would get your number two or your number three. But, this opens up the door for Alabama to look at more athletes, to look at more players, right? This opens up the door for Alabama's recruiting board to say, okay, with more room, now we can really get the guys that we want. And not just the guys that we want, but the guys that fit the framework of his program. And for the last few, recruiting cycles, Coach Saban has been able to kind of cherry pick some things, but there's always been maybe that one or two players you felt like, does this guy really fit the framework of Bama? Does he fit the culture? Does he fit the vibe? Does this guy really fit what Bama's trying to do here? So I think opening up this chance of getting more than 25 guys, it really allows Coach Saban to even more so get the guys that sort of fit that framework, or get more of those guys that fit that framework. But Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, he is definitely all over this, and he will have more insight about this. We're going to definitely try to bring him on Friday to connect his thoughts, because this is right there in Justin's wheelhouse. But we're going to actually go to another quick topic, and this one is J.I. Hall here. And I know what you're thinking, fans. Again, J.R. Hall, he's no longer at Alabama. Can you stop talking about him? Can you stop bringing him up? He's no longer with the program. The saga that is Mr. Hall is still going, even at Texas. And for me, you're a person first before you're an athlete. Before you put on shoulder pads, a helmet, before you get an athletic scholarship offer, you're a person first. You're a son, you are a brother, you are a nephew, you are a friend, you are maybe even a father, you're a husband maybe. You're a person first, but an athlete second. And my thing for Hall is to get seriously help for his mental status or his mental state, because the behavior he is exuding, kind of scary, very scary, especially with how the tweets were coming about there on social media when he was at Alabama, and then kind of the way he left Alabama, and then he goes to Texas, and he's all about Texas. He's got all of this Longhorn stuff on his social media, and then a week later, just a little over a week later, we're seeing where he has scrubbed all of the Texas stuff from his Twitter page. So it's like, what's going on? Like, right now, bomb football. Mentally, is this young man okay? I mean, that's my concern now. Mentally, is this young man all right? And if not, he got to get some help, because this is not normal. This is not natural in terms of this type of behavior, to where he's just jumping from way to way here. So my thing for him is, hopefully he gets himself in a proper mental status. Football completely aside here of the conversation. Thoughts and prayers are to Mr. Hall. But we take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Stephen A. was good, bro. It's your boy Coach Smoot, man.
What's going on, my man? How we feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great, bro. Pulling up on a birthday here in a couple hours, man.
Oh, okay. Now we talking. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The big 32, man, and I'm just excited, man. Been busy trying to grind on my streaming platform and stuff, and in the gym, man. It's just been good, man. I've been going back and listening to the shows, and you, John, Benny. I like the new add-on with the Bama Standard. I like, with Justin and the guys, man. That is big, bro. Like, I wish I could catch them all live, but I just be moving around so much, man. But I was able to call in tonight, man. I'm excited. And, man, the Jai Hall stuff, I think that I really think people and I went back and I kind of looked at my comment I wrote on Facebook, and I was like, I was kind of vague on my meaning. But basically, man, this kid hasn't had any real structure around him because of his talent. He's a product of, hey, let's get him along because he's a good football player. And nobody sat down. You can tell that nobody sat down and taught him the value of valuing life, in itself, taking advantage of opportunities when you have them, and that's the product of what happens, man. And it's a sad but true story, and it happens a lot between, young men at this age, between the ages of 17 and 21, when you're supposed to be setting the foundational stages of your adulthood as a man, as manhood. So, like you said, man, you only can hope and pray that, he gets some help. And, but yeah, and that's why I think a lot of people stick around at Alabama, for so long. You guys like Brian Robinson and Najee Harris and, guys that come in that are highly talented, and don't get the initial, start that they think they're supposed to have coming in as a freshman, but they stick around for 3 or 4 years. Even with the high hopes and the high projections coming out of high school, saying this guy's here for 3 years. I can even see a guy like Bryce Young, because of the character that he embodies, sticking around for another year when people expect him to go this year coming up, because that's the type of culture that Nick Saban kind of embodies at Alabama. And a lot of guys can't adapt to it if they are not used to that or they're not willing to conform to that. So, like you said, best of luck to him. But while we're on the wide receiver, Steven, Jordan Addison. I love the film, but brother, I really don't want any more. I don't want any more transfers. We got too much young talent coming in. It's just I don't want to get stuck in this. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing, Steven. Like it's a blessing and a curse because at Alabama, you know you're going to bring in top talent, but what about these young guys, man? How patient do we want to push these guys? How far do we want to push the envelope and, you know, telling them trust the process and stuff? Because this is a new age. And, you know, with Travis Hunter going to JSU, we might start to see college football flip, you know, over the next couple of years. NIL is not just for D1. You know, D1 AA schools, the HBCUs are capitalizing big time right now. They're bringing in the alumni from the, you know, the pros, the Hall of Famers that's coming part of the staff. It's getting big. So, Steven, how you feel? Jordan Addison, is it a need or is it too much?
Well, Senator, I'm going to answer that question a little bit later on in the show because I got some thoughts on that and some different reports now have come out on that. So definitely stay tuned to the ending portion of the show where I give my thoughts on Addison. But appreciate my man, Coach Smoke, Senator Hines, calling in, giving his thoughts here on the show. We got a shout out my man Jimmy Clay with a $26 donation into the Super Chats, showing that love for Team 26 Bama softball. Once again, those regionals will begin on Friday. So Friday we'll start the regionals at Road Stadium. Hopefully the girls can get through the regionals, get through the supers, and get to this Women's College Road Series. Also, my man, I got Jamie Wilhelm with that $4.99 in the Super Chats. Appreciate the love they're coming from Jamie, checking us out here on the show. But my best wishes, thoughts go to Mr. Hall. Hopefully, prayerfully, he can get himself strong mental status and find that guidance for him, no matter where he is in terms of college football. Now, before we go to break here, my thoughts here is Jordan Addison needed. This is one of those catch-22 questions because I don't think he is. I mean, you've already addressed needs from the portal, right? You needed a guy that can separate quickly from 0 to 60 from defensive backs that you lost in Jamison Williams going to the NFL. You found that with Tyler Harrell, getting him from the portal out of Louisville. Then you needed a receiver that was kind of a compact receiver, right? Can do everything well that you had, or can do a lot of things good. He maybe doesn't have that one thing he just excels at, but he does so many things good that you lost in John Mechie, who's now in the NFL. And Alabama was able to get that with Jermaine Burton coming from Georgia. And Burton has a bit more speed than Mechie has. So I don't think it's a need. Now, it's a want, it's a luxury, but I don't think it's a need, especially when you got all of this talent at wide receiver that Alabama has stockpiled in from the different recruiting classes. So I don't think Addison is needed. But later on in the show, we'll talk about some new reports, some new stories surfacing, developing here on Mr. Addison. But we take a break here right now on the show. Don't touch that down. When we return, we got my man Justin Woodall, former Alabama defensive back, 2009 BCS national champion, and the founder of All-in-One Training. He's talking about his work with Malachi Moore, Brian Branch, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Christian Story, all the Bama DBs. We hear from Woodall after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, people are locked and loaded from the break here on a Wednesday. Number one forum to talk your Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Continue to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, making this your channel, your network show, platform, and space to talk Bama. But right now, we go to the In My Own Words hotline. We pick up a bad man. We pick up a bad brother right here, 2009 BCS National Champion for your Crimson Tide, and he is the founder of All-in-One Training, developing the next killers in the Alabama defensive secondary. We're talking about my man Justin Woodall is here. J-Dub, what's happening with you, brother?
Man, how you doing, man? Thanks for having me again, man.
Absolutely. We got Justin Woodall right here, founder of All-in-One Training, 2009 BCS National Champion. And my man, you've been on the grind working with several defensive backs for Alabama this offseason, from Malachi Moore to Kool-Aid McKinstry and everything in between. And starting this off with Malachi, you've been able to get back with him. I know he's been through a couple of nagging, tough injuries. He seems to now have put those behind him. When I spoke to you recently, you said the weight's back right, the body's getting back right. But have you seen the return of the explosiveness he had from that remarkable freshman year?
Man, yeah, man. He actually, he getting it back. So we were actually out there today, and we were going pretty hard, but he really getting out his breaks really good. He looked like his freshman year to me. Body getting back, gaining weight. So, I think he got the explosion back, and I think he's going to be a little better.
Now, in terms of, I know a lot of people want to see Moore and Branch on the field together in any way, shape, or form. But when you look at both of these two and how they play the game, and in particular with Malachi, will there be, in your mind, a situation where both will be on the field, or will there be a situation where Malachi could play safety? I mean, how could you see this shaping out?
Well, for me, I couldn't tell. You never know with Coach Saban. But with the depth that he has, I think you could see that, and I think you could see a lot of guys back there rotating with the depth that he has. So, yeah, I think you can see both of them on the field at the same time. Kai probably at safety, probably at start. You never know. He might put Branch at safety, So you never know with Coach Saban, because I think both of those kids can play all the positions on the field, even corner. I think Malachi can play corner. I think Branch can play corner. So I think they're very versatile. You know what I'm saying? What they do. So you can put them anywhere. So that's why I like, saying those two playing together. But I think he's so deep in the backfield, in the defensive back, that they can really rotate him, because you got 2, you got 9, so they got a nice little combination back there. So this might be one of the best secondaries, I think, that could come through here if they keep working.
Going to be an interesting summer workouts and fall camp for this Bama secondary. We got Justin Woodall, 2009 BCS National Champion, here on the phone lines, founder of All-in-One Training. So Justin also working with Kool-Aid McKinstry, and freshman year made the All-SEC freshman team. Did some good things out there, and you've been working with him on just the fine details of being a DB. But how big of a jump do you see Kool-Aid taking as a sophomore, having that year of experience, getting that work in? How much of a jump can McKinstry take?
I think he's gonna take a big jump. He actually just sent me some film today, and I was watching some one-on-ones and stuff, and he looks way more comfortable. He's like he understanding, route combinations better. He's feeling more confident because he know what to look at. And, he having better eye control, better footwork when he in press. He's looking at the right stuff. So that's when I'm watching his film. That's what I see that he's getting better at. You know what I'm saying? He's not just out there playing off athleticism. He's actually, you know what I'm saying, understanding the defense and playing within the defense, and also, you know what I'm saying, playing with good feet and good technique and good eye control.
So just take it right there with the technique there, Justin, because you and I talked about something off the show here where you mentioned everybody now is an athlete. Everybody's an athlete. It's now who can be the best technician, who can be the most technically sound and savvy to disrupt the receiver, make plays on the ball, do what you got to do in that secondary. How have you seen Kool-Aid grow in that technique of knowing, okay, I'm going to go against some of the best receivers, so this is what I need to do to slow him down. This is what I need to do to stop this guy. How have you seen his technique expand?
Well, basically, because me, that's what I do. I don't, you know what I'm saying, I teach is technique. We breaking it all the way down. We not, because a lot of times Coach Saban can't get to that foot placement, keeping your arms in rhythm when you're coming out your break. Like, he can't get to all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I try to, break it all the way down for him. And I also watch the game, and the game is played a little different right now. It's moving a little faster, a lot of throwing. So when it comes like with Kool-Aid, when it comes to press, he used to be on his heels a lot, but now he's not on it. He understands where his weight needs to be. He understands where his eyes need to be when he go here. So, and that point right there is for me and him. I think he's more physical at the line now, because he's a long guy, and I think now he understands that he's long. He's a big corner, you know what I'm saying? So he can put his hands on guys and have an effect.
If you're just checking out the show here on a Wednesday, we got my man Justin Woodall, 2009 BCS National Champion for your Crimson Tide and the founder of All-in-One Training, joining us live right now. So as we move here to Brian Branch and the Christian Story, and I'm high on both of these two young men. Branch, we saw toward the end of last season, really go on a tear, a defensively at star. And then to me, if Christian Story stays put, this man could be the next big-time playmaker with what he can do. What do you like about the games of both Branch and Story as you work with them?
Well, both of those guys, they very smart, you know what I'm saying, but laid back. But Branch is, he's fast, physical. He's very twitchy, you know what I'm saying, and Story, a little bit of the same, but he's a bigger guy, you know what I'm saying, rangy guy, and a real physical. And I can see, he might even get thrown in the fire this year too, you know what I'm saying, with his abilities. So you never know. But I like both of those guys really well. So and I worked with them quite a couple times. So, but I think they're gonna be two good ones at the end of it.
Provided if all of these guys stay healthy here, Justin, do you see any sort of resemblance to this secondary potentially to what you were with in 2009 when you talk about having Mark Barron in there and Kareem Jackson and Marquise Johnson and Javier Arenas? Are there any similarities between your group in 2009 and this group here, providing this group stays healthy?
As you're talking about DBs, well.
Your DBs.
To me, I can say I think they got more talent in the back end than more depth in the back end than we did. You know what I'm saying? You got a Ricks, man. You got Kyrie. You got Battle. You got Kool-Aid. You got Malachi Branch. So for me, that part of them, I think they're a little deeper than us. You know what I'm saying? We had that first, that first line of defense, and we were pretty darn good. But we also had a crazy defensive line, and they helped us out a lot. But you know what I'm saying? But these guys, they got a lot of depth. They can do a lot with this secondary right here.
Going to be a fun group to watch in the upcoming season. We got Justin Woodall, 2009 BCS National Champion for your Crimson Tide, joining us on the show, and the founder of All-in-One Training, working with quite a few of the current Bama DBs, Malachi Moore, Christian Story, Brian Branch, Kool-Aid McKinstry. My man Justin, as always, we appreciate you coming on, sharing that wisdom here with us on these Bama DBs. You continue to grind, my man. We'll see you soon.
Man, thank you, man.
Absolutely. Justin Woodall, founder of All-in-One Training. He's got, if you want to see a guy that's turning these Bama DBs into outright stunners, you got to check out Justin Woodall. He's even working with Tony Mitchell for the 2023 class, 5-star defensive back. So Justin Woodall ain't playing around with these. He ain't playing around at all. We're going to take a break right here, folks. When we get back, we return to the phone lines. We grab your calls, your thoughts, your chats, your conversations coming right after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit weownthefourthquarter.com now to get your 4-finger bling necklace.
Chris Rogers, 2009 national champion. You are listening to the baddest, when I say the baddest, sports show in the state of Alabama. In my own words, you know, yours truly, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Don't touch that dial.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We're back and rocking, folks, from the break of the show on a Wednesday, hump day number 1. Form for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Got the man John Ivory in the production studio. Continue hitting that subscribe button. And with that thumbs up here, baby, hit that like button. Make this your show, your network platform, channel, and space to talk Bama. The phone line's open right now, 205-448-1358. Call in number right there to let your voice be heard, 205-448-1358. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang as you are getting your thoughts in. It was awesome getting the chance to speak with Justin Woodall, 2009 BCS National Champion and the founder of All-in-One Training in the previous segment there. But John, a lot of people are talking about, you know, the outside linebackers being a great strength for Alabama, and I agree with Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell, Jeremiah Alexander. Hopefully we can see some good things from Quandarius Robinson and Keanu Cole. I'm not saying the outside linebacker room is not a strength. It is. So many people talk about, well, Steven, the defensive line is going to be a strength this year, and the running back room is going to be a strength, and the wide receiver room is going to be a strength, and Bryce Young and the quarterback room is going to be a strength. There's going to be a lot of strengths here on this team, but for the first time, John, this offseason, and I might be wrong, for the first time in a while this offseason, the defensive secondary is putting in some serious work. I mean, everywhere you turn, somebody's dropping a new video to Twitter, to Instagram, to TikTok. I mean, one day you look up and bam, Malachi Moore's got a video out. And for the next day, boom, Kool-Aid sending you with a video. For the next day, boom, Kyrie Jackson's got a video. And for the next day, boom, Brian Branch has got a video. And for the next day, bam, here comes Jordan Battle. Here comes DeMarco Helms. Like, these DBs are working this offseason. They know how important this season in the fall is. And I know for some of us it was, 2021, Bama gave up touchdowns last year. The secondary gave up touchdowns. Secondary gave up big plays. Look, people, even in the NFL, where folks are getting paid millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, comma signs and dollar signs and zeros that will make me go completely cross-eyed and need a set of new glasses. Like, you got NFL players making this type of money. Guys like Jalen Ramsey, Marcus Peters, among others. Big cake. And even those guys, sometimes there is no defense for a perfect throw. The quarterback throws the ball perfectly on the wide receiver. You just can't defend that. I'm sorry, you just cannot defend that. And, there were moments this past season where the opposing quarterbacks just made perfect throws. Not saying that the Alabama DBs were not in phase, because they were. It's just a perfect throw. But I look at this season with, you've got veterans like Jordan Battle and DeMarco Hellams who have played safety multiple years now. They know what to do. They know the system. They know the calls. They know the communication. If something breaks down, they know how to adjust on the fly. That's a big deal. Then you've got Brian Branch, Malachi Moore. They've got experience in that nickel package. They've both played it in big games. They know what to do, how to communicate, and how to adjust. And you got three corners, two of them, Kool-Aid and Kyrie Jackson, that got experience this past season playing with Bama. So they know what to do. They took their lumps, they took their bumps, but they know what to do now. And then you bring over Eli Ricks from LSU, 16 career games under his belt in major college football. So I think the secondary is saying, don't sleep on us. No offense to Will Anderson and those outside linebackers in the defensive line and other positional groups, but don't sleep on this defensive secondary. I think this is what these guys are doing with showing you all of these videos of these brothers putting in work out there on the field. I am excited about this defensive backfield. Let me just tell you. So you got Bama in the USFL. So this is cool. So Bama in the USFL, we saw Bo Scarborough play over the weekend or on last week. Birmingham Stallions got the win over the Philadelphia Stars. I think the final score is 30-17. I would have liked to have seen Scarborough play more. I mean, Skip Holtz. I mean, the other running back, young man number 11 out there, he did some good things, but when Bo is the biggest face of the team in terms of your games are in Birmingham, your games are in Alabama, Bo Scarborough played at Alabama, two-time national champion from the state, you would think you would see Bo Scarborough out there more and get more carries than what he got, but they were able to feature him, I guess, toward the end, the latter portion of the game. Hopefully, he gets more carries, opportunities as we continue to roll here through the USFL. Then you've got Bradley Silv. I think he plays for the Dallas team, if I'm not mistaken. The Dallas team or the Houston team, if I'm not mistaken. But Silv has been bothered by a slight injury here, so hopefully he can come back. I would like to see Blake Sims in the USFL. I really would. I would love to see Blake Sims in there. But he's somewhere in arena football, and I would like to see our Darius Stewart in there. But I think he's still in the CFL. I mean, I'd like to see Trent Richardson in the USFL, but Trent Richardson is down there in Mexico doing his thing, playing in the league down there in Mexico. So the USFL is a good league. I mean, it's fun. The Birmingham team, undefeated. Defense looks like some of those old Bama defenses in the Saban era. I mean, you're playing two quarterbacks. I mean, the Magoo kid's decent. I mean, Jamar Smith is good. But I'd like to see old Coach Holtz use more Bo Scarborough. Maybe he will in the upcoming, in the next game here for the Stallions. But I'm going to go to a cool topic right now, and this is on one. Tua Tagovailoa. Folks, Tua ain't playing. Tua ain't playing. The Dolphins are in OTAs now. Day one of it was yesterday, and several Dolphin beat writers saying Tua and this deep ball, yeah, several good deep balls. Putting it on the money. One guy was like, I think this was Cameron Wolf of NFL Network, said Tua had a 80-yard deep pass to Preston Williams, the receiver, for a touchdown. The ball was in the air for about 45 yards, so Tua was putting it out there. And then another guy was like Barry Jackson, who covers the Dolphins for the Miami Herald. He was saying how Tua had a 45 to 50-yard dart to Tyreek Hill for a touchdown. Tua having a 20 to 30-yard throw down the sidelines on a rope to Mike Gesicki, the tight end, for a big game. Like Tua's playing ball. Like Tua is trying to shut up every single critic this season. And I've stated this before. It's a different thing when from the owner to the janitor, everybody's bought in on you. When everybody's bought in on you, a quarterback's confidence soars to the roof because he's not looking over his shoulder. He's not overthinking things. He's not overprocessing stuff. He's not looking at the worst case scenario. And that quarterback can just be himself. I mean, the first 2 years, Tua was looking broke, busted, and disgusted. Poor dude was looking pitiful, was looking depressed out there. I mean, there are reports in those first couple of years that Brian Flores didn't even want the guy. Wanted Justin Herbert. And when you're a head coach, it's not extending that confidence right there, not having your back. Of course you're going to look broke, busted, and disgusted. And now ever since Mike McDaniel's coming here, offensive-minded coach, but not just that. He has said and done everything to support Tua, from free agent acquisition moves to the NFL draft to bringing the right coaches in here. I mean, my goodness, Mike McDaniel brought in Darrell Bevell, who worked with Russell Wilson, Super Bowl champion, Matt Stafford, Super Bowl champion, and now he's going to get his hands on Tua Tagovailoa. Like, Tua's looking like old Tua again. Happy, jumping around, perked up. I mean, body looking like the Terminator. I mean, calves big, upper body big. He's ready to take the game over. And the team has his back. So this is going to be a fun year 3 in Miami for Tua Tagovailoa, already showing you in OTAs. He about that business. Like he about that work right now. So we're going to take a break right here, folks. Don't touch that down. When we return, we get into one Jordan Addison. New reports, new developments have occurred where the young man in the transfer portal from Pittsburgh is concerned. We'll talk Addison after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We are back into the action here, folks, from the break on a Wednesday, hump day, number one ticket for your Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith. Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate all the love and support from you, the outstanding Crimson Tide fans, on today's show. And before we get into the final topic of conversation, big announcement here. So Brian Robinson has signed his contract for the Washington Commanders. B-Rob, who was taken in the third round, pick 98 by the Commanders, has signed today. His deal is 4 years, worth $5.08 million. He's got an $849,000 signing bonus. So for Brian Robinson, who waited so patiently 5 years for his chance to be the guy at Alabama and took advantage of his moment in the 2021 season. Now has his contract. It's been signed for the Washington Commanders. But as always, folks, you got to check out tdawear.com. That is tdawear.com. Get your swag, sauce, drip, clothing, cultural, fashion needs right here. tdawear.com. That's tdawear.com. Link in the description. Go ahead and get yourself set up right now for summer workouts, preseason camp, the 2022 college football season, Alabama football season. Get you that gear today. Show them that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at TDA. But now we get into Jordan Addison, and there's been now new developing stories about this whole ordeal of the young man, transfer wide receiver from Pittsburgh, who is in the portal. Now, about 5 days ago, about a business week ago, Pete Thamel of ESPN put out this report of, Addison. His next visit is going to be USC. He's already visited Texas, and a visit to Alabama is expected. He's expected to come to Tuscaloosa at some point. That was Pete Thamel of ESPN. And then a couple other people came out, said, there's been strong conversation, communication between Addison and Alabama. Both sides have had that mutual communication. A time or a day had not been announced or set for the visit, but the report was, he was expected to visit, the Crimson Tide. And so now a new development has come out. And whether these are reporters in the Texas area or now some of the national people are putting this out. So now the development is Alabama is out the mix, supposedly. Alabama is out the mix, reportedly, on Addison. So now the two schools that are right there vying for his services, that being Texas and USC. Now, of course, nothing has been confirmed or set in stone yet. Nothing has been said on Addison's part of where he's trying to go to. So a visit to Alabama could still be in the cards. Or a situation where it's just Texas and USC still in the cards. Nothing's been confirmed. These are just different stories, different reports here being put out here by various media personnel, media personalities. But right now, the new development here for Addison is on the Texas Longhorns and the USC Trojans are the two kind of vying for his commitment from the portal. And it was kind of crazy. I was talking to a very good friend of mine who sent me this link to a story, and the story was about there's a bill that's trying to be passed in California in terms of NIL and compensating these athletes. And if this bill is passed, then schools like USC, UCLA, they're going to really try to capitalize on this NIL and really go after players, really pursue players hard with their NIL collectives. So it's going to be really interesting to see if that bill is passed, if that bill is done. But you have two programs, Texas and USC, that have not been relevant in a decade. So they're so desperate wanting relevancy, they are swinging for the fences. Texas and SC are swinging for the fences to try to get Jordan Addison. I mean, USC, they have not been the talk since Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Steve Smith, Dwayne Jarrett, Lindell White. That was 2005. Texas hasn't been the talk since Vince Young in 2005. Now, of course, Colt McCoy got into the national championship in the 2009 season, but they haven't been like the talk, like, yeah, hook 'em home, man, Texas. Like, it hadn't been like that since 2005 with Vince Young. But these are the two programs kind of swinging for the fences when it comes to Jordan Addison. And to me, looking at Coach Saban here for a minute, it would be nice to get a Jordan Addison, but I think Coach Saban is also looking at the depth of talent he's got on this Alabama roster, and he's thinking, man, I got a slew of receivers as it is. It would be cool to add an Addison, but I got a slew of guys as it already is. I mean, you got Tyler Harrell, Jermaine Burton, Trayshawn Holden, Ja'Cory Brooks, JoJo Earl, Christian Leary, Kendrick Law, Aaron Anderson, Tyu Jones-Bell, Isaiah Bond, Kobe Prentice, Shaz Preston. That's 11 dudes. Yeah, I got 11 dudes at that wide receiver position. 11 dudes. And this is not even counting your tight end position. This is not even counting your running backs that can catch the ball in the backfield. This is just 11 dudes at solely 12 dudes. Thank you, John. It's only 12 dudes solely at that wide receiver position. So, and all 12 of these guys, or the majority of these 12 guys are ready to pop and do their thing out there on the field. So right now, there has been no confirmation from Jordan Addison. He hasn't made a decision yet. He hasn't said anything. So an Alabama visit, that could still be in play, potentially, possibly, could be still in play. Or if it's full on Texas, USC, the only two teams now vying for Addison services, that could still be in play. But right now, where Addison is concerned, we are waiting on some concrete confirmation on his end. And upon that concrete confirmation coming, hey, we will gladly get you, the Alabama football people, that information. But as always, you want the best in news, notes, material, entertainment, conversation on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. For your audio needs, check us out. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, we'll try to be back on Friday, continuing the conversation that is Bama football. Remember, Tide fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. If you're trying to get your hands on the fresh edition, print edition of TDA, the magazine, you go to touchdownalabama.com. You click join, become a member or a subscriber today. That link in the description. Also, if you are fancying the 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys that we own at thefourthquarter.com, that link in the description too. But guys, shout out my man Justin Woodall, 2009 BCS national champion for your Crimson Tide and the founder of All-in-One Training, coming on today, giving us the updates on the current Alabama defensive backs he's been working with this offseason. Shouting out you guys, the outstanding fans of Crimson Tide football, for all of your calls, your chats, your donations, your conversations, the dialogue with you, and then my man John Ivory in the production studio doing his thing. Until next time, folks, husbands, you know what it is. Love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, you guys continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing, to not be bored. Continue getting that schoolwork done as summer almost here for you guys. Continue to get those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Till next time, folks, I'm your man Stephen M. Smith, and you've been listening to In My Own Words.